Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head.
Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo afro chakuti ndo music manje no Zimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Hello and good evening. You are watching Newsplus on a Friday, the last day of the working week. Here's to hoping it was productive and you had a good one. My name is Faith Nyaude. A quick look at stories that are making the headlines tonight. The Southern African Development Community is holding a virtual extraordinary summit to discuss the regional bloc's chairmanship, among other issues. Our correspondent Sharon Njinjima is on standby at State House, where President Mnangagwa is attending the virtual summit. She will be giving us updates. Special Envoy to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa, paid a courtesy call on President Mnangagwa at State House this morning. The visit signifies the ever-growing relations between Zimbabwe and South Africa. That story coming up here on Newsplus. We give you the latest on the arrest of opposition politician Job Scala, who was allegedly found in possession of explosives in South Africa. And in sport, and later on in sport, Munetsi and Billiard are to miss the Algeria-Qatar friendlies. Now, to start it off with, South Africa's Special Envoy to President Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Ramokgopa, today paid a courtesy call on President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House in Harare. Now, the engagement focused on strengthening bilateral relations and enhancing cooperation between the two neighboring countries. Eben Mabunda was at State House.
Now, Special Envoy to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa, paid a courtesy call on President Emmerson Mnangagwa at the State House, where they discussed matters of mutual interest between Zimbabwe and South Africa. The meeting reaffirmed the long-standing ties between Zimbabwe and South Africa, bonds rooted in history, liberation struggles, and shared economic aspirations. Dr. Ramokgopa said the courtesy call was an opportunity to deepen collaboration in key sectors of mutual interest.
I'm here to meet with the ZANU-PF, our counterpart as the African National Congress, to discuss in particular ways and means of encouraging progressive business to participate in our various activities of fundraising.
Dr. Ramokgopa, who is also the Treasury General of the African National Congress, also reflected on the enduring relationship between the country's ruling parties, ZANU-PF and the ANC, saying their ties remain the bedrock of regional unity and solidarity.
Very great fraternal relations. historically forged in the struggle for freedom of the two countries.
On the economic front, South Africa is Zimbabwe's largest trading partner, whose bilateral trade came in at $6.3 billion in 2024 due to geographical proximity and a strong economic relationship. Dr. Ramokgopa further highlighted that South Africa continues to draw lessons from Zimbabwe's infrastructural advancements, particularly at the Beitbridge border post, a flagship project symbolizing regional integration and modernization.
There are many areas that Zimbabwe is ahead of South Africa on. As I was flying over Limpopo River, I could see that on the South African side of the border posts, we still have a lot of infrastructure to do, and Zimbabwe is quite ahead. So we are inspired.
The visit marks yet another milestone in the deepening of relations between Harare and Pretoria, reinforcing the shared vision of progress, unity, and prosperity within the SADC region. Eben Mabunda for ZTN Prime, State House, Harare.
Our top story this evening, the Southern African Development Community is holding a virtual extraordinary summit to discuss the regional bloc's chairmanship, among other issues. The bloc became leaderless after interim chair Madagascar withdrew from the position early this month to focus on domestic matters. Our reporter Sharon Mujiyama, who is at State House, gives us more.
Following political disturbances that occurred in Madagascar recently, which saw the country's prime minister removed from power, the island nation withdrew from the SADC chairmanship after serving for only 4 months. This left a leadership gap in the regional body, which still has several outstanding issues from the last summit. Today, 15 member states met virtually to deliberate on the way forward regarding the chairmanship question.
The government of Madagascar on the 31st of October 2025 formally presented to SADC its decision to withdraw from its responsibilities as the chair of SADC, thus creating a vacuum within the SADC Troika leadership. This summit is therefore convened to elect the SADC chair for the remainder of the Madagascar's term, which is due to end in August 2026. This process will ensure that the SADC Troika leadership is complete, in line with our founding treaty.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa attended the virtual summit in his capacity as the outgoing chairperson of SADC. The meeting was chaired by South Africa, which currently holds the position of interim deputy chair of the regional body, as stipulated by the SADC treaty. South Africa is also the incoming chair and was originally set to assume the role in August 2026. The change in leadership is, however, not expected to alter the bloc's priorities. In his opening remarks, President Cyril Ramaphosa urged member states to continue acting with urgency in addressing the region's pressing challenges.
Of solidarity, but also a community founded on the values of unity, peace, mutual benefit, and sovereign equality. As these very values are being tested by a convergence of challenges, we are called upon to act with both urgency and foresight to stabilize the present while safeguarding the future.
The meeting is also expected to deliberate on the situation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and other pressing regional matters. SADC Executive Secretary Mr. Elias Magosi and President Cyril Ramaphosa both paid condolences to families affected by the recent political disturbances in Madagascar, as well as post-election violence in Tanzania.
And express our condolences to the people who lost their lives in the events that ensued in our sister country, Madagascar, and wish the families well and those who were injured a speedy recovery.
A closed-door meeting is currently underway, with heads of state and government expected to reach a consensus on the way forward. A communique outlining the summit's resolutions will be issued by the SADC Secretariat once deliberations conclude. Cheryl Mujanjema for ZTN News at State House.
Now we cross over to Sharon, who is at State House. Sharon, good evening. Can you just give us an update on the proceedings there?
Yes, good evening, Faith. We're still at State House where we are waiting for the SADC heads of state extraordinary summits that are still underway to come to a conclusion so that we can be called in and hear what the resolutions they would have made. As of now, as I've just mentioned, that we are outside and we are waiting for the meeting that is still underway. And of course, from what we updated earlier, we did discuss that, we did talk about that. The main agenda of this meeting, as was given earlier, is the issue of the bloc's chairmanship. Of course, we do know that the country that was leading the regional bloc, that is Madagascar, withdrew from the chairmanship earlier this month. So those are some of the issues that they are discussing. And during the opening remarks, there was mention of the factor that since the last meeting, they have also had there have been 3 elections in the region, and that is from Malawi, from Celsius, and from Tanzania. And we're expecting that maybe those are some of the issues that they could be discussing as of now. But we are just waiting to be called back in.
Now, Sharon, as you wait outside to be called back in, what outcomes can we expect from the meeting? Do you have any idea?
Of course, the actual outcomes from the meeting is something that we can only know once the meeting has ended and the communique from the SADC Executive Secretariat has been distributed. But from the agenda itself, we have been told that some of the issues that they are discussing are mainly the issue of the bloc's leadership. So perhaps what we can expect to get after the meeting is clarity on that issue, whereas the regional bloc is going to decide which among the countries in that regional body are going to take forward the leadership of SADC. Perhaps there have been speculations among political analysts and other constituencies that since there hasn't been an incident like this that has happened recently, perhaps we could see South Africa, which is the incoming chairperson, actually taking the leadership of the regional bloc until the time that Madagascar was supposed to release the reins of the bloc to South Africa itself. Or perhaps maybe these are speculations that perhaps we could see the outgoing chairman of the SADC bloc, that is Zimbabwe, perhaps also taking the reins of this regional bloc. But of course, the actual resolutions on this issue is something that we can only know once the meeting has ended.
Well, Sharon, thank you so much for giving us that update. Now, Sharon is at State House and the meeting is currently ongoing. If updates do come in while the bulletin is still ongoing, we will be coming to you back with that update. Now, Vice President Dr. Constantino Chiwenga has said the manufacturing sector should invest in innovation and be at par with global trends, a step he believes will steer local production and serve the country from avoidable imports. The Vice President made these remarks after touring the newly commissioned National Foods Milling Plant in Blayo earlier today.
This is the new face of Zimbabwe's agro-industry. National Foods Bulawayo plant, once reliant on a mill from the 1950s, has been transformed into a modern high-capacity facility. The old mill had served for more than 4 decades, but its age posed a serious risk to the bread supply for the entire southern region. Vice President Chiwenga's visit to the National Foods Milling Plant is part of the government's assessment of economic projects nationwide. The Vice President's visit highlighted a multi-million-dollar investment that is not only boosting production but also aligning with government's vision for national self-sufficiency.
Now you've seen that red machine, which was their first milling plant. It's like a tiny small thing to where they are, with fully automated equipment.
In response to rising local demand, National Foods invested $8.6 million in the new Bala mill, increasing daily production by 25%. Vice President Chiwenga's tour underscored a partnership between public policy and private enterprise. Dr. Chiwenga described National Foods as a strategic player and urged collaboration with local farmers and research institutions such as the Scientific and Industrial Research and Development Center and the Research Council of Zimbabwe.
Let them work with the Research Council of Zimbabwe, and we produce gristline wheat, which currently they are importing so that they can mix with our soft wheat. But we wanted to produce the hard grain. And once we are there, then we are now done.
The company has also diversified into breakfast cereals and other value-added products, something the company CEO says has helped expand their brand.
So we're really getting in there and backing our local farmers. To us, we love backing local farmers because our money then goes into the local economy and then benefits our own consumers, so it only makes sense. In terms of the go forward, or as we've always done, we're big financiers of contract farming through the PHI A-Growth contract farming scheme.
With 80,000 metric tons of local wheat already contracted from farmers for the upcoming season, this new meal has become a key link in Zimbabwe's journey towards self-sufficiency.
Now, in other news, as Zimbabwe continues to face unpredictable weather patterns, the government says the country's future lies in harnessing and managing water. Vice President Kembo Mohadi says irrigation is set to become the backbone of agriculture by 2030, with major dams across the country forming the center of that transformation.
With droughts, floods and shifting weather patterns becoming more frequent, water has become one of Zimbabwe's most valuable resources and key to its food security. Vice President Kembo Mohadi says the plan is to make sure every community can produce food whether it rains or not, through increased investment in dams, irrigation systems and rural water projects.
So it is our view as government that in the future, or the near future, or maybe by 2030, we will be largely dependent on irrigation agriculture.
Over the past few years, projects such as Muchekeranwa, Marovanyati and Chivu dams have taken shape. But the signature project remains Lake Kwai Shangani in Matabeleland North. When complete, it will supply water to Bulawayo through a 252-kilometer pipeline while supporting irrigation, aquaculture and tourism along the way.
So we have got dams that we have completed. I can safely say we have completed Muchekeranwa, as you know. We are in the process of doing Kunzi. We are more than 40 meters high. The wall is more than 40 meters. It's more precise. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, it was at about 43, which is the Kwai Shangani.
Yes.
We are trying to take it to 70. That is the optimum level. But we think we can start damming it, start damming some water.
Experts say irrigation is now central to Zimbabwe's agricultural strategy, helping farmers adapt to climate shocks while boosting productivity and resilience. Beyond farming, the construction of dams is also creating jobs and new opportunities for small businesses in rural communities, from fish farming to local supply chains.
And climate change is upon us. So for our people to have livelihoods or to be self-sufficient, we had to get them a situation whereby, whether it rains or not, they must be able to harvest, they must be able to feed themselves, they must be able to be self-sufficient.
It's part of a wider vision to link water, power and transport, ensuring that food produced in rural areas can easily reach markets across the country and beyond. As the climate challenge deepens, Zimbabwe's development plan is shifting from relying on the clouds to controlling the currents.
When Newsplus comes back, we have details on the arrest of opposition politician Job Sikhala in South Africa. Stay with us.
The government of Zimbabwe is proud to host the 5th African Public Procurement Network General Assembly from the 11th to the 14th of November 2025 at the Elephant Hills Resort in Victoria Falls. Under the inspiring theme, Transforming Public Procurement in Africa through Innovation, Inclusion, Sustainability and Regional Collaboration, this event brings together 53 African countries organized into 5 regional networks: North, East, West, Central and Southern Africa. This assembly is more than just a gathering. It's a vital platform where leaders, procurement experts and stakeholders come together to exchange lessons learned and best practices. It's a space to strengthen institutions and systems, to promote innovative solutions to procurement challenges, and to address governance and strategic planning issues across the continent. Join us in shaping the future of public procurement in Africa, where collaboration meets innovation and progress knows no bounds. Together, we are building a stronger, more sustainable Africa.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Now, opposition politician Job Sikhala was arrested earlier today for illegal possession of explosives in Pretoria, Central South Africa. Sikhala was detained along with an accomplice who is yet to be identified. The South African Police Service confirmed the arrest, stating that it could not be immediately verified what the duo intended to do with the explosives. South African Police Service spokesperson Brigadier Atlenda Mate said that the pair will appear before the Pretoria Magistrates Court facing the said charges on Monday next week.
The SAPS confirms that a 78 and a 53-year-old man have been arrested for being in the illegal possession of explosives. Police received a tip-off that there were people traveling in a Ford Fiesta in Pretoria in the early hours of Friday morning. Police spotted the said vehicle. They stopped it and found 26 blasting cartridges and 15 capped fuser connectors. The pair have been arrested and will appear before the Pretoria Magistrate Court on Monday, facing a charge of being in possession of explosives.
Now let's talk infrastructure development. Major boost for housing development is taking shape in Chegutu, where the Urban Development Corporation, UTCorp, is driving the multi-million-dollar Nokmalodge housing project. Jointly owned by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, the once loss-making corporation has implemented its turnaround strategy that has revived stalled projects and restored confidence, jump-starting developments like Nokmalodge, which will deliver more than 3,000 modern housing units. Our reporter Melissa Chachkobo gives us the details.
For years, the name Urban Development Corporation was synonymous with stalled projects. Promising housing developments shelved, leaving citizens and investors upset. Lillian Chorua was living on a prayer for 8 years. She is one of the beneficiaries of the Nokmalodge housing project, a development once on a standstill. Now she has renewed hope.
Ndobva tambonzi chimbomira ichi kubhadhara ndopakaita that gap. I think pakazoitawo change of leadership ndopatakazonyorerwa matsamba takunzi no zvinhu zvinenge zvaienda in place, ma-developers are in place, and inini I was fortunate enough kuti ndainzwisisa.
Stanley Kasukusa had the same fate as Lillian. Now the corporation has shifted from years of losses to recording an inflation-adjusted profit in 2024, thanks to governance reforms that prioritize transparency, project viability, and strategic partnerships. This makes Stanley confident in the transformation plan the state entity has.
It has been some time, I think more than 6-7 years in waiting. Since we paid for the stands, it's a good thing. But we're just feeling kind of comfortable because it's kind of being handled by a parastatal, which is a quasi-government institution. We're not scared that we are going to be scammed or we are going to lose our investments.
Providing affordable, modern and sustainable settlement is set, with over 3,000 stands earmarked for development in the government's revived Nokmalodge housing project in Chegutu. The project is feeding into the country's vision of rural development.
Rural district councils can also do it
in the spirit of decentralization and devolution. So we are also inviting other rural district councils to come and partner UTCOP in terms of housing and infrastructure development. We have also managed to transform UTCOP from a loss-making. We were making losses and we are now a profitable organization.
The corporation's renewed focus on sustainable urban housing is also attracting private sector collaboration, a crucial step toward bridging Zimbabwe's growing housing gap. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Chegutu.
From housing, we talk ICT. Government and private players in the ICT industry today discussed how to improve Zimbabwe's technology sector and align with global trends. The conversation emerged during the Tech Convergence Fora held in Harare. Now, the event was designed to bring together players from across the technology sector to engage, network, and exchange ideas.
Government has made significant strides in efforts to ensure computer competence across the country, particularly in rural communities. As part of this initiative, community information centers have been established nationwide, while the DigiTrack program launched earlier this year aims to further expand digital access and literacy. Despite these interventions, experts note that the nation still lags behind in the rapidly evolving tech industry, especially in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity measures, and tech manufacturing. To address this gap and spark a dialogue on emerging technology trends, Technomac CEO Tonio introduced the Tech Convergence Fora, a platform designed to foster collaboration and innovation within the ICT sector.
There has to be a forum or a place where we openly have a conversation and discuss key issues that are affecting the ICT sector. And this Tech Convergence Forum is supposed to be looking into that specifically, whereby we have to look into these issues openly, frankly, and we get to discuss these issues and see, more importantly, the best way forward on how best do we move this forward. What are the main issues? What are the key challenges? And what are the solutions that we should be proffering here?
The digital ecosystem in Zimbabwe is slowly adapting to the growing international trends, with universities like Bindura University of Science and Technology having commenced making laptops. However, authorities are pushing for ways to accelerate this growth and development throughout the country. The Minister of ICT, Tatenda Mavetera, facilitated the conversation, challenging stakeholders to start with the basics, which involve attracting investments that will enhance connectivity in the nation.
There is need for us to explore ways to attract and facilitate companies with the capacity to bring and operate ground stations in Zimbabwe, which will enhance connectivity quality, reduce latency, and improve resilience in our broadband infrastructure. My ministry is already working on frameworks to make Zimbabwe a viable and attractive destination of such high-capacity investments.
Lately, there has been a sharp rise in cyber fraud cases in the country, with the most recent case being the bust of a tech-savvy trio that defrauded dozens of victims across Zimbabwe. These cases were done through phishing scams and mobile money fraud involving over $17,000 and more than 30 million ZiG. Deputy Governor of Zimbabwe, Dr. Innocent Mache, says data sovereignty and having localized digital stack are some of the issues that will help resolve current challenges.
Once we have that digital stack, it's easier to secure than when systems are fragmented. And what the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is trying to do now is to make sure that that happens. But it's not only the security side of things. It's also to be able to have confidence in the data that we are putting out. Data sovereignty and the use of locally contextualized information.
The forum provided a platform for industry experts, entrepreneurs, and innovators to discuss emerging trends, share insights, and explore opportunities shaping the future of the tech industry. And now, the wait is to see how it influences the ICT sector and drives technological advancement. For ZTN Prime, I am Sitashi Suekwaza.
You're watching Newsplus. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Join the 2025 National Tariff and Competition Conference hosted by the Competition and Tariff Commission, happening on November the 13th and 14th at Cresta Lodge and Sango Conference Center, Harare, under the theme Fair Markets, Strategic Tariffs, Driving Innovation, Investment and Regional Competitiveness, featuring industry leaders including Honorable Ngobezi Tandlovo, who will be the guest of honor, Dr. Willard Mwemba, and other top experts in trade and competition. Contact us via WhatsApp on 0711 459 595 to register now.
Welcome wherever you are. And Marmoush room to shoot. He well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Sodo! Tarkowski! Scott's got to be careful. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Now, National Cleanup Day took center stage in different parts of the country today. The initiative is aimed at ensuring a cleaner, greener environment and improving waste disposal systems across the country. Information Communication Technology, Postal and Courier Services Minister Tatenda Mavetera led a cleanup campaign in Harare's Central Business District, while Moors Football Club stood as a shining beacon of social responsibility, where hundreds of Norton residents turned out for this noble cause. We get more in this report.
The first Friday of every month in Zimbabwe is designated as National Cleanup Day. The initiative was declared by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, supported by various government ministries and organizations. Zimbabweans across the country participated in the cleanup campaign, with ICT Minister Tatenda Mavetera leading in Harare CBD. Grey clouds couldn't overshadow Norton's determination. Side by side with Moors Football Club, residents swept through their streets, proving that true champions lead both on and off the field.
And indeed the whole of Zimbabwe, let's start by where we live.
More skipper Tafadzwa Nyabunze was leading, this time with broom and gloves. The captain, leading by example, encouraged people to practice cleanliness and hygiene in their homes. Norton Ward 7 Councillor Tinashe Machemedze praised President Mnangagwa for the National Cleanup Initiative, urging Norton residents to align with the noble cause, fostering a clean and safe environment.
They are all over, so we are trying by all means to clean a Norton constituency.
As the brooms and gloves are packed away, the spirit of unity and responsibility remains strong in Norton. The Moors-led campaign has once again shown that keeping the environment clean is everyone's goal, a cleaner community for a cleaner Zimbabwe. Tavares Bachiwa for ZTN Prime.
And now we give you news from beyond our borders. The year 2025 is likely to be the second or third warmest year on record amid intensifying global warming, according to a report that was released by the World Met Organization, WMO. Now, according to the State of the Climate Update for COP30, the average global mean near-surface temperature was about 1.42 degrees Celsius, higher than the pre-industrial average, while greenhouse gases, atmospheric concentrations, and ocean heat content reached records observed levels in 2024 and continue to rise in 2025. According to this report, the compounding impacts of high temperature and extreme weather events have damaged cropland, eroded livelihoods, and deepened poverty, and contributed to displacement across multiple regions. African Union Chair Mohamed Al Yusuf has called for global solidarity and climate justice at the COP30 Leaders Plenary in Belém, presenting Africa as a continent that's ready to lead in renewable energy and innovation. He pointed to growing clean energy efforts across the continent. Now, the African Union Chair stressed that global climate finance must become an effective instrument for development. Despite contributing less than 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions, Africa is widely recognized as the continent most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, with the colonial past explicitly cited as a driver of present-day climate vulnerability.
L'Afrique est responsable pour moins de 4% des émissions mondiales et ne doit pas en supporter le fardeau le plus lourd. La responsabilité restera collective, mais les obligations sont différenciées. Par ailleurs, la lutte contre le changement climatique est indissociable de la lutte pour la dignité et les droits humains. La récente affirmation de la plus haute juridiction mondiale nous rappelle que l'inaction climatique n'est pas seulement un échec environnemental, mais c'est aussi une faute morale.
The UN Security Council has voted to remove Syria's transitional president Ahmad al-Shara and Interior Minister Anas Khattab from the international sanctions list following the adoption of a US-drafted resolution. Syria's permanent representative to the UN, Ibrahim Olabi, hailed the decision as a sign of renewed international confidence in the country. Now, the resolution, adopted as number 2799, passed with 14 votes in favor, none against, and 1 abstention.
السيد الرئيس، اليوم وللمرة الأولى ومنذ سنوات طويلة توحد المجلس في دعم سوريا والوقوف إلى جانب شعبها. ترحب سوريا باعتماد القرار وترى فيه دليلاً على الثقة المتزايدة بسوريا الجديدة وشعبها. لقد مدت دمشق ولا تزال يدها لجميع دول العالم باحثة عن الشراكات والنجاحات، عن الأعمال والاستثمارات، ساعية لأن نكون نقطة وصل تجمع الشرق والغرب تحت عنوان التنمية والازدهار. إن سوريا الجديدة ستكون قصة نجاح ونموذجا مشرقا.
Now, 3 people were killed as the U.S. military struck another vessel alleged to be carrying narcotics in the Eastern Pacific. The latest strike follows the deployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group to the Caribbean, joining a growing U.S. buildup of aircrafts, ships, and troops in Latin America. The operation is part of Trump's campaign to stop alleged drug trafficking. Now, critics, including the UN and rights groups, say that the attacks constituted unlawful action under international law. But according to media reports, so far, U.S. forces have taken out 18 vessels during the campaign, resulting in at least 70 deaths. And now we take a look at some business news.
The Parliament of Zimbabwe will be hosting the pre-budget seminar in Bulawayo at the ZITF grounds from the 5th to the 8th of November 2025, running under the theme Enhancing Drivers of Economic Growth and Transformation Towards Vision 2030. The public is advised to follow the proceedings through our Parliament social media handles, Facebook, X and Instagram. Parliament of Zimbabwe, a strong, independent, people-driven, world-class parliament. A ZWS 19001-2015 ISO certified organization.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
And I'll look at business news tonight. 2 Zimbabwean ministers presented detailed investment pitches to Chinese investors on Thursday, outlining key sectors for capital injection during a business forum that was held by Zimbabwe on the sidelines of the China International Import Expo. The forum was hosted by the Zimbabwean Embassy in China and the national trade promotion body, Zimtrade. In his presentation, Mashonaland Central Provincial Minister Christopher Magomo said the province has approximately 30 mineral resources open for investment.
Several minerals which are doing well in Mashonaland, mines which are doing well in Mashonaland Central Province, the likes of Eureka Gold Mine, Freda Gold Mine, from the Chinese side of Minchang is also mining gold. We have Sunny doing well in chrome in Mashonaland Central Province. So these are some success stories in mining sector in Mashonaland Central Province. And we are still open to that. We don't want to export raw minerals, want those minerals to be processed so that we don't export jobs.
Now, echoing the call for investment, Mashonaland East Provincial Minister Itai Ndudzo described the expo as a pivotal opportunity to attract more Chinese business to Zimbabwe. He also paid tribute to existing Chinese investors, acknowledging their role in boosting the national economy and improving livelihoods.
The goal is to further strengthen and deepen the relationship for mutual benefit. We are fulfilling the consensus reached by our two heads of state in September 2024, where they pledged to increase economic cooperation at both the government and the private sector levels to achieve shared growth and prosperity. Several initiatives have been launched to enhance economic relations between our two countries. These include, among others, the signing of the bilateral investment promotion and protection agreement, commonly known as the BIPA.
Still in business, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, is set to invest over 100 projects worth a total of $6 billion in Africa's travel and hospitality sector, its officials said at the recent UAE Africa Tourism Investment Summit 2025 in Dubai. Now, the Gulf country intends to invest in over 100 tourism projects in aviation, logistics, infrastructure, and the digital sector. The UAE's total investment in Africa exceeded $110 billion by 2023, making the Gulf nation the fourth largest investor in the continent after the US, China, and the European Union. Over $70 billion of the investment was directed toward green energy and renewable energy sectors. And now for some entertainment news.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Now let's take a look at what's happening on the entertainment front. A first of its kind national hairstyling competition themed Stylist of the Year was held in Harare recently, attracting participants from the country's 10 provinces. Now lawyers shone brightest, with Blown Away Beauty College clinching the national trophy. Speaking after this win, the institution's director, Thaddeus Moyo, said the victory was a significant milestone for the school. Now, the team showcased a creative coloring transformation using products in line with the avant-garde theme, which demanded bold creativity and innovative use of color. The beauty college has trained and empowered over 60 youths. Now, some of its graduates are now working abroad, while others have started their own hair and beauty businesses. Now, across music, fashion, and film, women are reclaiming the stage and redefining what leadership, art, and influence look like. Now, Zimbabwean women are joining that global conversation, proving that the same pulse of power and presence beats strongly in Harare. The upcoming show, Nubian Notes, Mabukadzi, The Rise of Her Sound, set for tomorrow at the Harare International Conference Center, is poised to be one of the most defining cultural moments in the country's entertainment industry. The all-female showcase brings together 5 of Zimbabwe's most formidable voices: Felinandi, Tammy Moyo, Gemma Griffiths, Shashil, and Nisha Tees. Now, some great news for the Zimbabwean cinema scene. Local film Rise can qualify for consideration at the 98th Academy Awards, Oscars, scheduled for the 15th of March 2026. The film made history in July when it became the first Zimbabwean production to premiere at the prestigious Tribeca Festival in New York, and it has continued to make waves on the international stage. Written and directed by Jessica Rowlands and produced by John Jangu, Rise features some seasoned Hollywood actor Tungai Chirisa alongside award-winning young Tepsani Sikanyi Songwenya. Jack Nod is credited as the film's cinematographer. Now, being shortlisted for Oscar consideration marks a major milestone for Zimbabwe's film industry, with Rise becoming the first Zimbabwean-made film to reach this stage on the path to Hollywood's most coveted awards. And now for some sporting action.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
Welcome back. You are watching Newsplus. Now we cross over to State House, where the President Emmerson Mnangagwa is addressing members of the media at the SADC Extraordinary Summit.
Outline of your discussions as regional leaders with regards to the recent events.
Well, this was a SADC meeting of 4 SADC heads of state on our collective thrust to solidify challenges facing our region. And I'm happy that we are all in agreement in how we are tackling the challenges that face our region.
That was President Emmerson Mnangagwa addressing media and journalists after the just ended SADC Extraordinary Summit at State House. Now we give you some sporting news. Newly appointed Warriors coach Marian Marnika has retained most of the players who featured in Zimbabwe's recent World Cup qualifiers for 2 international friendlies against Algeria and Qatar next week. Notable inclusions are Sheffield Wednesday midfielder Sean Fusire, Scotland striker Timon Machope, and Tel 1 striker Washington Navaya. Marshall Munetsi and Kamabiliet who missed the matches. We're now joined by Langton Kwenda to talk more about the Warriors squad that was announced. Langton, good evening. What are your thoughts on the Warriors squad that was called up by Marion?
Thank you so much, Tawa. Firstly, there was nothing much different from the squad that was previously announced by Michael Nis before his departure. And it was expected because this is a new coach. Obviously, we still have to Kaitano Tembo as the assistant. I'm sure he had an input in the selection of the squad. So there's continuity. Even in the goalkeepers department, Arubi, Mapisa, and Dutch bases, there's continuity. In the defense, there's continuity. You can also see that Prosper Padera, the youngster who plays in Finland, is back in the squad. And so is Ashwin Fusiri from Sheffield Wednesday. I'm sure those are the few additions in the midfield. Up front, the team welcomes top goal scorer, Kasolaka top goal scorer, Washington Navaya. It was always coming. Remember, people have been saying he has always been omitted by Michael Nis, and it's good that he'll be given a chance against Qatar and Algeria. So I think he did what was expected. That is Mario Marinica. He's just landed into the hot seat, and a few days later he's to announce the squad. So he had to continue from where Michael Nis left.
Langton, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your thoughts on that. Now, still in sport, Warriors in Scotland forward Knowledge Musona has been fined and suspended by FIFA following his red card in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers Group C match against South Africa. The veteran forward was sent off in the 64th minute after receiving a second yellow card, cutting short his participation in what was a tense and competitive encounter. As a result, the 35-year-old Warriors captain was slapped with a fine of $6,200 and headed a one-match suspension. Meanwhile, South African defender Mbekezeli Mbukazi was also disciplined for his involvement in a late altercation with Zimbabwe winger Tawanda Maswanise during stoppage time of that same match. Bongazi was shown a red card for the incident and received an identical fine from FIFA for unsporting behavior. Dynamos take on Yada this weekend in the penultimate round of the 2025 Castle Lager Premier Soccer League season, knowing that any slip-up could prove costly in their fight for survival. The Harare Giants are desperate for all 3 points after a turbulent campaign that has seen them flirt dangerously with the relegation zone. With only 2 fixtures left to play, every result will be crucial as the relegation battle reaches a dramatic conclusion.
Every game is very important for us. We are getting closer to the end of the season. From the last game that we played, I think we showed a lot of character that sometimes we don't need to play well, but for us to get maximum points. This week playing Yada, they are also most in a similar position like us. They're also trying to avoid relegation, and these are games that probably every team will want to go for maximum points. We come into this fixture probably almost available, apart from Jalai that is out because of the suspension, because of the 3 yellow cards that accumulated. It's just unfortunate that he's suspended at the period that he has picked up his game, and also he's been scoring in the last 2 games that we have played. We've come a long way. If you look at the time that we started, the point difference from the other teams, I think it was just too massive for us to catch up. But when we have managed to catch up, we need to compose ourselves and not lose it when it really matters. I think it's got a lot of psychological and mental aspects for us to just remain calm, and hopefully that we still stay in the race, and hopefully that we survive relegation.
Now the side go into the encounter with a spring in their step as they are unbeaten in their last 9 league games. But head coach Kelvin Kaindu predicts a tough encounter as they will be without the services of team captain Emmanuel Jalai, who is serving a 1-match suspension.
I think you don't need to lose your captain in games like this, and he's been quite instrumental in the games that we have played, even when he has not scored. But in the last 2 games, he's been the player that has given us the goals that we needed. It's just unfortunate that he misses this game, but probably give chance to other players as well to see what they can do. But he's been quite strong in terms of his position, and also the availability for him to go forward and create numbers for us to have more depth in terms of going forward.
Now, in other PSL matches lined up for Saturday, ZPC Kariba face Tel 1 at Nyamunga. FC Platinum host Herentals at Mandava. Now, Bikita Minerals take on Simbabora in their survival battle at Sakuva. Highlanders will be home to desperate Manika Diamonds at Barber Fields. Ongezi Platinum clash with Chickenin at Baobab. Caps United face Moors in an exciting fixture at Faro, and Triangle will be hoping for better fortunes against Quaker United at Gibbo, while champions Scotland host Greenfield at Wadzanai. Now we give you updates on the Northern Region Title League race that is about to take place.
With only one round left before the curtain comes down on the 2025 Northern Region Division 1 soccer season, log leaders Ngombiaora head coach Nespet Saruchera is confident that his charges are focused ahead of their trip to Norton, where a tricky encounter against most under-19 awaits them.
I think the boys are ready. We are waiting for that big game. We need to make sure we collect the 3 so that we are crowned the champion. But I think we are ready. The guys are very focused at the moment. They know what they are really playing for, so they make our job easier. Like I said before, Northern Region is one of the toughest leagues out of the 4, so it's not going to be easy. But like I said, we came a long way. We need to go in there and treat as if you are playing a cup final and make sure we collect 3 points and move on.
Saruchera expressed confidence in his team's concentration ahead of their crucial away match, praising the senior players for their leadership and the role they've played in helping the younger teammates adapt and excel.
It's like, if I can take you backwards a bit, this team was formed in March, and we managed to assemble a very good squad at the moment. So I'm happy with the progress. We live in gelling the young boys and the seniors so that we want to strengthen the spinal cord. Like I said, the spinal cord must be very fixed.
Saruchera is on course of becoming the second coach to guide 4 different clubs to top-flight football, but he has kept his feet on the ground as he does not want to put his charges under pressure.
Normally I don't play for personal records. What I want is maybe Mumbai to get promoted to the next level. That's what I'm worried at the moment. As coaches, we do not put the boys under pressure. We just maybe remind them how important the fixture is. But they know they've matured, they've played some of the highest level. They can't be afraid of those games.
Through humility and firm guidance, Saruchera has steered Ngombearo to the brink of success. His ability to inspire confidence or maintaining composure shows a leader committed to collective growth as much as to victory. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Tawanda Muntali.
Now, still on a look at sport, the 2025 edition of the Zimbabwe Sevens rugby tournament gets underway this weekend, with Zimbabwe battling it out with Zambia as well as Kenya. We caught up with rugby analyst Ruimbo Chakoreka to just give us what rugby enthusiasts should expect in this year's edition of the Zimbabwe Sevens rugby tournament.
Well, I think this year's edition should be a pretty good one. I think the addition of the Kenyan Morans will definitely help. And quite surprisingly, I was actually looking at the team sheet for the Kenyan Morans. It's mainly their developmental sevens, which then looks to press into the Kenyan Shujas. Now, we know that the Kenyan Shujas are the sevens team for Kenya. And an interesting addition is Daniel Kepsheshe. Now, Daniel Kepsheshe was part of the under-20 squad, which beat Zimbabwe in the Butters Trophy. And so he's already now being blooded in. He's a very powerful runner, quite strong, and considering that he's a young player, clearly Kenya are also looking towards the future. But also they've got some experienced players that are coming in there for the Kenyan Morans, so that will also be very good as a test for our cheetahs. In terms of Zambia are also bringing in a bit more of
Well, with that, we call it an evening. That's all we had for you on Friday's edition of Newsplus. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's to hoping you do have an incredible weekend. My name is Faith Nyawade. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.